Okay. Space out of joint. The Luger for Cult story by Philip K. Dick. As one who has spent any time in hyperspace knows, when one iteration or para-world reaches concept status, it is then possible and crucial to solve for the iteration's sub-concepts to complete a mapping of the iteration and pacify any unstable sub-concepts. Sub-concepts, the realm of fixers like Luga Fakult, age 29, a little fat, eternally virginal, and a master of hyperspace sub-concepts. His youth was spent in and out of discipline and punishment facilities, rabble-rouser at an early age but a self-taught student, and a genius with the phonetic entanglement equation. So, today, so many equivalent years later, second room time 4, August 359E, Luger Fakult was called into a job in the domain 11 Princess P to pacify her solar system's sub-concepts. On the cold, barren moon, Hermes IV, Luger, round back of his hovel, sits by the Remar 4E, his junk heap of a singulator. From his sheet metal hut, in all directions, auburn rock trailing off into nowhere, horizon bleeding into the empty sky. It's a scene Luger's father would have said looked like the end of the world, and it would have, but not now, not anymore. End of the world is too centralized a concept for hyperspace, too self-important. End of which world? Worlds are ending by the second, and there are infinite Lugers experiencing every world and every state of transience this very moment. Hyperspace was no place for old world ego or catastrophe. Hard to even grapple with a thing like identity if you don't have anybody else to tie it down. And Luger Fakult, yes, this Luger Fakult of our paraworld, is the loneliest man in hyperspace. Statistically improbable, as it seems it's entirely true. He reads his job slip as he finishes his coffee in the lunar cold. Princess P, a veritable babe of hyperspace. He knew the princess from Playboy's interdimensional articles. Some sort of royalty, one of the hottest in hyperspace every year on the influence of nepotism. This iteration of Playboy no longer the force it was in the pre-hypertime days, but still a respectable smut mag with a reasonable buy-in on such cases of nepotism. But as far as Luger could tell, she really deserved the title too. Tan skin, some kind of hyperspace mishmash of ethnicities. Quick to call her Asian, but the tag wouldn't quite hang. Long black hair, and the body of a gymnast. As he sits, thinking of ways to trick his client into sex, the Remar sounds off with a ready signal. It's time to jump. Entering the singulator, he punches the paracords and activates singulation. The machine begins to whir, and an exponentially growing number of paraworlds are transposed onto his vision. He has lost his physical rooting in any one iteration and must locate the correct paraworld before jumping. He deactivates the Remar in the target world and successfully jumps. A matter of routine at this point. Outside the machine, a metropolis on Hermes 4, IV again, the same old "we're not in this Kansas anymore" joke plays through his head. The Remar sits in a fixer's lot, as it does on 200 other paraworlds, each charging a cross-world monthly fee in 200 different currencies that Luger struggles to keep good on. It was not so long ago he had collection agents from 2 different worlds at his house on the same day, the second readying his back to bust Luger's knees, only to find he didn't really have any left, just 2 little custody hinges where the knee should have been. In search of a cab, Luger heads down a main road whizzing with gas, past locals with their perverse fashions, artifact genitals dangling from holes in trendy leather get-ups with shades fused over their eyes. Black is in mode here. It looks to Luger something like a porn adaptation of pre-hypertime movies in Matrix. Luger is out of place here in his unbuttoned plaid, sweats, and unmodified penis. He is an outsider, and he receives the treatment of one. On the street corner, a preacher in red robes with an Otterford cock hanging out protests junk travel and a local entity called the Lysar Corporation. Children heed me. The Lysar businessmen lie. Pawns of the devil. There are no parallels but above and below, and we are living in the best of all possible. He carries a sign that reads Singulator. Lots damn us all, and Luga shudders at the thought of having his singulator impounded out on a job, being stuck in this shithole. And that's the end of this part and all the fucking weird voices.